This sounds like a choking cat or something. Spiders everywhere! Spiders! Spiders! Actually, no, they're drones. They're like drones. Okay, so what were we playing? Oh man, we gotta play that.
It's all
The whole
minor-ish
point of
stuff.
figuring out the lyrics so that I could actually sing all the lyrics on tape.
Alright.
Since the camera's actually rolling, now we have to edit out you going,
I don't know why.
oh, I do.
I thought that was pretty good, actually.
I saw a film
No. You saw a
today,
film,
oh
no.
boy,
No.
and I poked it full of holes.
Well, you know,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna do
falling
that.
down is easy to do. It's harder to stand up. I know that's true.
Oh my God, now I feel bad. I'm guilty.
You better feel bad. You better feel guilty. That's the way I'm gonna steal all your power to better myself. That's
I've
the
done something
way
wrong or something.
of the world. Don't you know?
How about if I give you money, will you go away?
You don't have enough money to give me what I need. It's something else entirely. It's simply more similar to a seed that you might grow somewhere under the sun in a garden. Yeah.
No. Are you giving me a blank stare? Because right now it looks like it. I guess it's the glasses.
Well, we don't have to do that. We can just like make random noises.
Okay, you want to do He Blew His Mind Out in the Car?
Nah, not anymore.
Why not? Because you're mad now?
Yeah, I'm mad now. 'Cause I'm mad now.
Not really hard to do.
Yep, that's right.
So are you out of your consciousness
Bugs,
now?
it's the bugs.
Well, I actually
Don't
didn't
let the bugs
really
get you.
get there. Well, I'm doing fine with the bugs.
Is that a sky frog?
No, it's a tree frog.
Sky
Clinging to that cloud up there.
Sky frog, man.
They're white kind of frogs. They sound
They're
similar.
like flying squirrels.
They're
but
ascended-
frogs. They're
they're
amphibious squirrels.
They're ascended tree frogs.
Long time ago, most of you people were all children. There was this guy.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's right. You forced me into it. There was this guy, and he was part of this, magical group of 4 guys who totally, almost seemingly single-handedly transformed reality
You're overbearing,
into a new paradigm. But the weight was pretty heavy. That's a pretty intense responsibility, so they didn't last very long. So they broke up. But one of the power drivers of that particular group really gave us some food for thought in music. And this one has never really done justice to it, in my opinion, other than the ones who did it first. Sgt. Pepper's is a hard act to follow, if you want my opinion.
trying, man. I am. It's hard though. Sometimes.
This Bob trying over here.
It's
Bob
no,
trying.
I'm Rob trying.
It's Rob trying.
It's hard sometimes with the weight of the world pulling at you from behind.
The weight of the world is pulling us from behind. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Read the news today, oh boy. About a lucky man who made the grade. Blew his mind out. That's why I
Start
said I
over.
knew.
And I just won't
Fuck.
play.
Why are you fucking it all
Because
up,
I'm
Rob?
hitting all the wrong notes.
Why are you
Well,
hitting
come
all the
on,
wrong
man.
notes?
I don't know why I'm hitting all the wrong notes.
Well, it's an esoteric study.
Maybe it has something to do with the
dynamics.
fact that I'm
Get with
not
the
an
bloody program,
accomplished
Ringo.
musician. But I guess that doesn't matter for some. Does it?
Come on, Ringo.
I didn't go to school for
It's
music.
together.
So if I
Well,
didn't go to school for
I did take
music,
piano 101 for a semester.
if I didn't go to school for music, then I shouldn't be able to do this whole magical fucking stand with it
Says
thing.
who?
Huh?
Says who?
Really?
You? You said
No, it
that?
says them.
Who's that?
This stable up instrument.
Oh, well, fuck them. I mean, frack them. Excuse me. Yeah, right. So, I mean, it's like, okay. Well, let's try and bring this up soon.
Do it country style.
Of an issue having to do with action or patience. And I mean action meaning take some responsibility and initiative, or patience and rely on the greater cosmos to work it out. So they both have, you know,
Their merits.
they have their merits, right? But that gets into this, you know, debate about which one is kind of like the.
Speak up, can't hear you.
Speak
No, I can't hear me either.
Speak up.
Really?
No. That thoughts are drifting.
Drifting like autumn breeze.
Power struggle. We're in this constant power struggle. It's probably related to this very moment right now. Be able to maintain certain awarenesses of certain things, I guess.
Maintain focus on those things.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, it's like, because I keep coming to this point and I keep hitting with this, like this almost, can almost see it.
Now, did it still?
Opaque wave. That
I'm sitting over here
slightly
now.
opaque.
Did it still come from over here?
Yeah, it's still coming from the same direction.
Okay.
So what direction that is like? It's probably, that's like south, due south.
Yeah. Kinda. Almost. Yeah.
Oh, it is south. I know. I've been watching. So some sort of energy wave coming from the south.
I've seen that. I've seen it. The same thing on my level in my life. I've seen it happen a lot. It knocks you off focus. It knocks you out of balance. It definitely knocks you on track. 9 times out of 10, it seems to be when the momentum of something is building up to a certain point, and
Sure.
boom.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've gotten really frustrated with it over the years. But I've come to the point where I've had to accept faith that it's all about timing.
Yeah, that's part of it.
And that if
That's where
every
we come back
piece,
to that argument. that
if
debate.
every molecule is not in place at the moment, and we realize thousands of these moments apparently, And if every molecule is not in place when that moment hits, then it doesn't happen.
Well, it's like the difference between action and faith. And patience and faith is like what we've been trying to do. There's been times and moments which we have captured on audio, but we haven't necessarily captured on video, where we were totally spontaneous musically, and yet this time we actually set out to be spontaneous and could not break out of any of the forms or the molds. We were totally confined within that, and so what does that mean? Does that mean like we're in some sort of off zones, off period?
Well,
If
that would have
knows-
made a very quick on period then, because right before the equinox. we
Well,
came
I
into,
think they can go from, at this point, they can fluctuate in a matter of hours easily,
Mhm.
because we're not on that countdown schedule anymore. We've been liberated from the calendar. Now it's if people haven't noticed it, it's starting to kind of scramble a little bit. Weather patterns, national patterns, economic patterns, all the patterns.
Huge storm
All
building
the
up
patterns
in the Atlantic.
Well, that's impressive. They poo-pooed it, I noticed.
Yeah.
This
It's
happens
like-
all the time.
Did you notice what I
Winnebago
said?
people.
They played it up and played
Yes,
it down at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah,
Look
right.
at over here. It's really normal.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I know a little something about
Yeah.
weather and nature, and
Right.
it doesn't always track the course it's supposed to, or that you think it's going to. Right,
Well,
Bob?
I that's all these things are people are. It's definitely
Shit.
go with it. See what happens. I guess.
Well, whatever we do, you can be cut it up and used for little pieces. It can be all the way down to the point of saying one word. Word! That's a clip you can cut. Word. Word.
Hi,
High five.
I'm Rob. No, this is Rob.
I'm Rob.
But yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm a cynical bastard.
Yeah, he is. Oh man.
Where we going?
Where we going?
Where we
Well,
going?
you're
What-
getting ready to go on this major trip.
No, I don't want to talk about my trip.
Okay.
Not on the
fine.
bastards.
Fine.
Maybe later.
Okay.
Well, what's going on? Why did you want to
Oh
film?
well, I guess it was.
You wanted to talk about what we're doing and why
Well,
we're doing
let's-
it, and,
I
or
was
did you want to
specifically
define it
talking
for the
about
folks there
Yeah,
in
we're
YouTube
so like
land?
for example, actually I was going to talk about the examples that we videoed about certain things using the concept and the idea of power, personal power, hijack power.
Like
Just doing
allowing
a hijacking.
allowing somebody to talk without talking over top of them.
As an example, yes, the mutual empowerment.
Yep.
Practicing that. So but I wanted to perhaps make a little statement about where some of the basic concepts came from and where people might actually find a little bit more reference on the subject. For example, like when we're talking about power, relatively recently I've been intrigued by a book that I've read once before, and there was a movie that was made, but all of a sudden I started reading the book again and I had a different, fresh perspective on what was in the book, and we've been talking about the idea and the ideology that's put forth in this book. Some of what we did, we actually did the videos without much explanation, so this is kind of an explanation.
So you just take this and insert it in the beginning of the videos,
Something like that.
and it could be an explanation.
Or it could be like a narrative tying them all together.
Or it could just be really confusing. To those of you on corn syrup,
Oh, that's right. Or other medications. But the idea of the what's put forth in this particular book, so I'll go ahead and and so without promoting the book, I'm going to go ahead and give everybody the name of the book so they can seek it out on their own if they want.
But don't watch the movie. Apparently,
Yeah,
the movie doesn't have
movie,
a lot
the
to
movie
it.
really does not. Even though it's directed by the author, you would think the movie would be pretty much a reflection of the content, but it's totally not.
This is not a movie
So,
review. We're
no.
just saying don't watch
Right,
it.
we're
Read
saying
the book.
no about what we're talking about. Yes, read the book, and there's certain ideas that come out of it. That book, it's called The Celestine Prophecy. Oh, what?
I just reacted.
That's the name of the book. I know the name of the author, but it doesn't matter. You can just Google The Celestine Prophecy on the internet, and you can find out all you need to know about how to get hold of it. And it's worth a read to anybody that's interested in the consciousness awakening that's coming on right now. There's a couple other books, since we're talking about books, I'll throw in there real quick. And there's another one called The Handbook for the New Paradigm.
Handbook.
Which is very similar in its scope and what it's talking about. And of course, I could go on and on about different books, but those are pertinent to right now. They're pertinent to right now. And I think that anyone who is interested in knowing the higher dynamics of what's going on in terms of conscious awakening, they're a good resource to look at.
There is something going on too. You're right.
So we, and we decided, that basically here's the thing. See, the thing is that there's a whole lot of info out there about the problems, the adverse conditions that everyone is having to live with in various degrees here and there across the planet. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of information about who to blame for that, right? And yet there's very little information about what to do about it.
Well, yeah.
Well, most of what there is already been tried.
Well, I think some have still formulated things to
For
make
example.
to make money. More than anything else,
Right.
they formulate.
So how can that be a
answers.
solution when a majority of the problem is all wrapped up in that money thing?
Exactly.
Right? So so the solution has to be something else. It has to be something new, something greater, something, something that stands apart. It's not contaminated. So what do we have as a solution? Well, until recently, it's probably really hard to answer that question. But what we have is power. Each and every one of us has power. We have power.
Apparently more
the
power than
moment-
what we need.
From the moment we're born to the moment we die. And we have been, and this is brought up in this book, by the way, from the moment that we enter into this social contract with the rest of the society, we begin this struggle for power. Everything that we do, our education, our religion, everything we do is all centered around the struggle for power to ensure that we, as the general masses, are always wrestling and struggling with each other inside of some sort of competition or contest or virtual or actual war in order
An ongoing virtual distraction.
while there is this higher echelon that is reaping the benefits of that struggle for themselves alone. And that's been going on a long time. There's lots of information about that. That's the part we know about who to blame. So we got to get back to what the solution is to that. And the solution is to wake up. And how do you wake up? Well, I imagine that sort of is an individual path. But
Could be as easy as it's just like getting out of bed in the morning and making a decision how your day's
there
going to
you
be.
go, the decision.
You just wake up in the morning. First of all, your first decision is to wake up. Some people would identify with this a little bit. People that have that have problems with sleeping past their alarm clock in the morning. I've often said and found out in myself that this basically means that you don't want to get up and do anything. So before you're even awake, you're already making decisions what you're going to do for your day. It can be that simple, getting up in the morning and deciding you're going to have a better day. Maybe you're going to communicate or implement one of the small ideas that you had to better your life. And I'm not talking about making money. I'm talking about real honest-to-goodness changes inside of yourself. Like, you know, who are you going to support with your power?
Which segues into the idea of, let's stop it for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't mean
to lose the thread.
I didn't mean to take over.
Now you're taking up more space. Look at you, just spread out as big as you can get.
You take a lot of power.
And that would be the cue in talking about power.
Yep.
And what you just said would segue into the act of, you were talking about making decisions and deciding before you woke up what you were going to do for the day, setting the day up.
Yep.
So, would you say that you practiced that act of making decision on a daily basis?
Yeah.
So therefore,
Yeah, it has to be a conscious effort.
so therefore, part of what you're doing is practicing.
Mm-hmm.
You found a solution which works, particularly suited for you,
Right.
for what you're doing, and you practice it every day.
Yep.
Right? And that's the whole point. Practice. You know, anything is possible. If you're interested enough in accomplishing it, you practice it, and slowly but surely it becomes. Just like anything, just like any skill you can learn in the world, any art, any talent, without that practice is worthless. If you don't practice your talents and your skills, then they don't grow and they atrophy and die. Kind of like life and love.
Yep. Oh wait, I hate being a yes man all the time. Oh wait, don't strike that from the record.
So we, you know,
I'm lost.
while E-Bob was with us, we during the rare visit, we did some practicing of some ideas of how we could practice certain things, like getting out of your mind and into your consciousness through spontaneous role playing.
Spontaneous freeform.
And we also did a demonstration of practicing giving energy.
Giving energy and power within a conversation to empower the other person.
Exactly. As a demonstration of that power that we've only scratched the surface of this subject of the power, and we will discuss this even more so as we go along, either in a forum basis or with more video. We'll see, but the power is an important thing, and that's why I suggest you read that book. So we did these things, we did these videos, and as an example of practice of how there's a way to apply a solution through practice. It's not about just sitting back and saying, oh, I can't do it because I am not empowered, I don't have the resource, or I don't this, or I can't this, or I can't that.
Or I don't know how.
Yeah, there may be a lot of things that applies to, but there's bound to be something, even if it's just the realization that the food that you've been buying is poisoning you slowly, and then you need to change your eating habits.
And if you think it's complicated and you think you don't know how, you do it every day. Every day you do it. A lot of your responses to the day are automatic, but still, that means you're doing it, nevertheless, whether it's automatic or not. You just have to make a conscious effort to do it differently, and to be conscious of it, and to do things with intent. Like having a better day. Or not driving for a day. Not being angry at people. Not spending money.
Yes, we were talking about earlier, not on camera, about the the fact of how much of us are programmed into this fight or flight response.
Yep.
And we wondered and we thought and discussed the possibility and maybe examples of what a third alternative to fight or flight might be. And both of us came up with something in terms of that's what it's along the same thread as a solution. Because fight or flight is like programmed into us for centuries, thousands of years. It's determined the outcome of history. That fight or flight response. But there's a third alternative.
Stand there.
Do nothing.
Yep. Do nothing.
Or do something that is counter of whatever it is. Not necessarily. Definitely, you can't fight fire with fire. You can't obtain peace through war.
Let's back this up a little bit and try it again.
Okay.
Let's try to run at that again. Go ahead and lead in.
Okay, practice.
Yep.
It's really about practice. Anything is possible with practice. Theoretically, anyway. The practice along with belief, because you have to believe in what you're practicing, is what makes the most notable human greatness in our own history. All those great men practiced their beliefs and their arts and their talents and their skills.
I think we lost.
Yeah, of course we did. Because I have no idea where we were going anymore. We thought we were already getting that there. You have to go through all that again.
It was really.
I lost my voice already.
No, I'm sorry, but it was really a bad take.
Yeah. There's an explanation for what we did in these other videos, and we did that. So I can just edit that. You contributed enough to it that we've got a thing going on. Now,
I talked enough, you mean?
yeah.
Okay. That's good.
So now what the
Aye.
public forum is open. Yeah.
The public forum is open.
Oh.
For what?
For whatever. Hey, well, I mean, there's lots of topics on the forum that we could pick and talk about, which are all relevant.
Aliens and Men in Black.
Prohibition
and manifesting a new reality. Did we talk about that already?
Well,
amongst ourselves we've been, but...
Well, that would be going right along with the idea of practice and making things happen through practice. By practicing what one believes in. It's really the key. And I don't need to preach to anybody that people should know by now what the fundamentals are of reality.
You should know what's working and what's not.
You should know where it comes from. It doesn't really matter what name you want to attach to it. Maybe it matters for you, and that's okay. But it shouldn't matter for anyone else. It's not you. How you manage to see the creator of the universe is your own blessing, and you should allow that for anyone else. You should allow them to have their own blessed view of the creator instead of having to conform to your particular perspective, which may be great and it may be small. Who can tell? Who's going to make that assessment, that judgment, and why should they? We have a long ways to go. But those are the states that we have to reach towards. I don't need to bring up names of great men and prophets and so forth that have already given this information out. That information is there for anyone who wants to peruse it from various perspectives, pre-medieval, medieval, whatever. It doesn't matter. The truth is alive. And life is the truth. And that's not to say and to draw lines.
Sounds very holy moly.
Between those who have moved on to another state of existence. But it's all about practicing what you believe. But so it's only logical that the more realistic and the greater the outcome is going to be based on the the closer you are to the ultimate truth in your belief. The more of the truth that you have assimilated into your belief that you practice, the greater the results. You know, it's like
Change the world
it's
results.
it's like yes, of course.
Yeah.
But we're talking it not on an individual alone. This is an important part. We're talking about the
collective.
the collective, not like the board collective. We
No.
already got enough of that with the corporate monopolies and crap.
Yep.
Right? No, we're talking about the collective consciousness. But yet that implies a collective of individuals who are conscious. That's like the necessary part for there to be a complete, I would look at as the collective consciousness. And there's other names that be applied to it, which I haven't applied. But that is the goal, and how we get there is through practicing, because the solution is that.
And being aware of it every single day. Being aware of there seems to be subtle changes. I'm aware of them all the time. Sometimes it makes me wonder what's going on, but if you get in the right perspective, you can see these changes that are happening to us. And it's pretty important to start exercising your options before you lose them. We can change tomorrow, today.
By making decisions and practicing them, and increasing the understanding that we have, which is the basis on which we make the decisions. For example, to decide that you're going to, in a situation where you'd normally be in fight or flight mode, you stand back
And
you
look at the
take another
situation.
look and decide that maybe there's another option. Maybe what is necessary is something that you have there, because you're there. You're in this situation, and you're not there out of some coincidence.
Nope.
Or happenstance. There's a reason, something you have to contribute one way or the other. So you need to be able to step back from the emotion of the moment, of the fight or flight, and look at the other alternatives. What's the greatest alternative that covers everything? And that we're just beginning to really understand, even though we've been talking about it forever, is love. Because the keys are there. That's where it is. Bottom line foundation. Without your own understanding of what love is, then the gates of consciousness are truly forbidden, because it is sacred ground, and only the beloved can go there. And that's the key to the solution.
It's funny, and I've seen it this way before. That seems like such a snobby statement. But to break it down really simply, if it's like, you can't have a day if you're not having a good day. It's that simple. You can't feel the sunshine if you don't go outside. You can't enter the kingdom if you're not vibrating right. And it's just another word.
And I'm
the
just
word
talking
kingdom.
about consciousness here.
The word kingdom,
Yes.
the
Yes.
consciousness
Right.
kingdom.
Yes.
The word kingdom is just really a word.
Yes.
There's no snobbery in this
Right.
at all. It's just, there's certain things you can't do in certain places. The vibrations just don't work out. If you want things to happen, then you need to be a little bit more conscious of what you're doing and how you're interacting with things.
In other words, the third choice that you have is to affect the outcome in a positive way.
Yep.
Because by both fight or flight is flight is avoiding it, to where whatever you're trying to avoid is just left alone to wreak whatever damage it intends. Or fight, and then damage can be compounded and magnified.
Even by something as simple as what you say in it.
So the third choice, and that is represented. It's represented by love. It's represented by the basic precepts of what that is. By looking outside of yourself, considering what another might be going through or feeling that is causing them to act out this way. It's hard to do. It's not easy, because we're all here together, but this is practicing again. And sometimes we can't practice it. We just want to run or fight if we have to. But we got to make the effort for that third alternative and even more. Because that word, that fight or flight thing is like instinct left over from.
Sometimes it happens. Happened to me a lot when I was younger. It happens when you don't understand something.
Yes.
When you don't understand something, you get kind of nervous.
Yes.
Maybe somebody's throwing a concept at you that you're not altogether comfortable with, and all of a sudden you get nervous. You don't feel powerful enough to maybe have a discussion with this person, which you may perceive as an argument. But if it's all kept on the up and up, it's really just a discussion.
Yeah.
And then you might either choose to walk away from the conversation and say, "Oh, my glass is empty. I think I'll go back to the punch bowl. See ya," or, which is flight, or getting into a really heated debate and really forcing your opinion on a situation that's really a discussion, which probably just do nothing but broaden the understanding of everybody involved in the discussion.
And if you could take a 3D, fourth dimensional picture of that battle of individual power, like auras clashing together, the fireworks and the sparks that would be flying off of such an interchange of the fight, even though it would have been verbal.
And then there's the third position,
Yes.
doing nothing. It doesn't cost anything to do nothing, to stand and to not react. In the beginning,
That's
you're dealing with
starting there.
you're dealing with root feelings inside of yourself. One of them is fear. Actually, they all tie into fear. Fear of being disempowered by a conversation, fear of being hurt physically, fear of having somebody steal something from you. The list goes on and on and on. But if you just stand, I find in most situations, especially when I don't agree, if I just stand there and watch for a second, sometimes it's only a millisecond, I get more information. Sometimes that information allows me to readjust my perception on what's really going on at that moment. It could be that I have completely misread it and somebody else is actually having an expansion of their own. And I just wasn't ready to deal with it. But if I ran away, if I flew, I would never know that. And if I fought, I would interrupt that and possibly damage it. It could be something good. Sometimes painful things, sometimes things that are good look pretty painful. It gets easier as you practice it. Pretty soon, it gets to be almost like a third option.
and to clarify here, we're really speaking on a spiritual, psychic, emotional level, not on an actual physical level. I'm not saying to anybody that if your physical being is threatened, that you shouldn't either get the hell out of there
or protect yourself.
Protect yourself if it comes to that.
Take no shit.
But of course. But I also have to say that if you don't want to have adversity affect your life, then you should probably look to not allowing it to be in your life.
Yep.
To begin with.
Yep. Kind of hard in this world.
It is difficult, but because it's all infested and everything.
That's why I've been living in a cave for 10 years.
Practicing. You ready? All right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Woke up this morning with light in my eyes, then realized it was still dark outside. It was light those sausage-shaped lights with little uptight, little green footprints that glow in the dark. I hope they get home alright. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? You know I'll never do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Woke up this morning, I was feeling quite weird.
It was weird.
Had flies in my beard, and
my
toothpaste was smeared. Over my
His
window,
they written his name.
said,
So long, we'll see you again.
Hey,
Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? You know I'll never do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Won't you please take me along for a ride? Won't you please take me along for a ride?
oh, that was
You laugh.
Huh? That was, ow. Jeez, I felt that. What's up with that? I think this guitar is alien.
You're right, you are an alien.
It's a,
Right, so, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hey.
We're all glad you came.